Hi everyone. So today I'm going to try to, in this video, show you how to get started on writing an essay. In particular, I'm going to try to write a short essay on Things Fall Apart. Right now I have no idea what I'm going to write. I just know that I've been assigned to write an essay about 700 words, which is not very long, so I think I can do it kind of quickly. And I have a plan in my mind, sort of, but I don't really know what I want to say or want to write. I just know that I've been reading the book, going along with the class, following pretty carefully. Let's just take a look at what I have available. First of all, you know, I've got my, I've got a notepad, I've got some notes, and I've got some the book. I'm a person who likes to read books about writing, so I've got some books about writing. I've got them both digitally and physical copies. I can write down some notes. I've got a little piece of paper where I write my notes here. And let's see what I've got open as well. Of course, I've got the classroom open, so I should probably go to the Things Fall Apart section. I've got this very useful book by Durant and Fab about writing essays open. I've also got the teacher, whoever that person is, has written something about how do I write an essay. I've got the assessment rubric. That's really important. So this is actually what I've been told to do. And so obviously I need to take that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it into my essay. I'm just going to put it underneath. Actually, I'll put it right up here on the top. And then I'm going to get it down to some reasonable font size. So, obviously this is what I'm being graded on. So I'm being graded with this assessment rubric. That's what I call the prompt. So these are the things I have to do: is demonstrate an understanding of Things Fall Apart, draw reasoned conclusions from it, support my ideas with references to the text, analyze and evaluate how textual features or authorial choices shape meaning. So authorial choices means I better get something about, why did Chinua Achebe choose the things he chose? Why did he make this character so-and-so, or why did he have the ending that he had, or something like that. How well organized, coherent, and focused is the presentation of ideas, and how is my use of language? Is it clear, varied, and accurate? And what is my register and style? Meaning, I'm writing a formal essay here, so I've got to make sure it's structured and all of that. So what I'm going to do today, and following Durant and Fab, I'm going to try to set a time limit of 40 minutes. So that means it's now 12:42. I need to finish by 1:20, and I'm going to try to just get a working thesis statement and an outline going. So an outline, I would say, would be, in this case, I want to get at least, let's say, 6 or 7 points or statements. Maybe my outline could be in bullet points. It could be numbered bullet points, numbered list if I want, but I'll just make it bullet points. And so I've got, right now I don't really know what I want to write about. I should mention this. I've already showed you how to do this. I've already got my bibliography in there. So I'm going to have to make sure, I'm pretty sure that's the book I've got here. So when I'm going to page numbers, I'll use this one. So what am I going to say? Well, first of all, I have to think about what is the question asking for. The question is asking, analyze how Chinua Achebe explores any 2 of the following 7 concepts in Things Fall Apart. Well, any of these can work, but, I can see right away that, culture is an obvious one, perspectives as well. I would also say transformation. So what I'm going to do now is just, what am I trying to say? The real questions that I have to answer are something like this. What does the novel mean? What did Achebe intend to say? What is my interpretation? of Things Fall Apart. Why is it considered so important? So these are the kind of questions that I'm sort of trying to answer here, and as it turns out, I've just read, 25 of your learner portfolios, and one thing that kept occurring to me is quite a few students said, the arrival of the white man destroyed Igbo culture, and so that seemed to be a common. And I think I disagreed with everybody when they wrote that, but that seemed to be a common feeling amongst the students. I actually don't agree with this statement, right? So I think this statement is wrong, and I'm actually feeling that what Achebe tried to do, and let me see if I can try to articulate this. I'm going to try to say something like Chinua Achebe, and so I really want to say in Things Fall Apart here, because I'm referring specifically to this. Chinua Achebe in Things Fall Apart. All right, I can put that first. I'll just write TFA for now. Chinua Achebe demonstrates that Igbo culture was not destroyed by the white man. So I'm going to write is resilient and was not destroyed by the arrival of the white colonialists. Maybe I should put Christian in there as well, but I might leave that to later. Instead, he shows how the Igbo culture transformed in response to the arrival of the white colonialists. And I think it's important to point out too, and Christianity. So now we have something called a working thesis statement. It doesn't mean that it's exactly what I'm going to stick with, because as I get more into it, I might actually change it. But now I have what's called an argument. I'm making an argument. I'm making an argument that the arrival of the white men did not destroy Igbo culture. So what I want to say is did not. I'm going to probably remove this line, destroy Igbo culture. Now notice that I've already got in my thesis statement. Now my thesis statement's a little bit long. I think I'm going to actually eliminate that first sentence. But I've got transformation and culture. Okay? So I've already included two of the essay, see here's culture and transformation. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a link between the question, what I've been asked to do, and my essay that I'm about to write. Okay? So now I'm pretty happy with that, because I've got to start, and I've actually linked my thesis statement to the prompt. So that's going to help me get good marks. Now I want to do something called an outline. Okay? So what is it that I'm trying to say? And I really have to ask myself, how did Achebe demonstrate that Igbo culture was resilient and was not destroyed? Okay? So if we think about it at the end of the novel, and I think the end of the novel is going to be important here. I might get that in there pretty soon. Okonkwo hangs himself, but the rest of the people go on. As a matter of fact, I may or may not include this, but I happen to know, because I've done some reading about the novel and some reading about Chinua Achebe, that his books that come later, I think one's called Arrow of God, and the other one's... Anyway, I can't remember the names of the books, but his books that come later, I haven't read them actually, but his books that come later give us what happened to the descendants of Okonkwo. So he does show later that Igbo culture is very much alive and well. So I think my thesis statement can be defended, and that's actually what you're trying to do when you write, is defend an argument. So how am I going to do this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, where am I? I want to be here, right? Okay. Now, okay, somehow I've got myself into my works. Okay. So my outline, first of all, I want to say that the character who demonstrates the resilience, so I'm going to say it this way. Obiorika is the character who demonstrates the resilience and adaptability that is required for Igbo culture to transform and thrive in spite of the challenge presented by British colonialism. So that is a sentence where I'm going to, okay, so now I might even call this sentence Obiorika, okay? Obviously I'll erase that but I've got an idea here, a concept, that one paragraph is going to be about Obiorika, okay? Now, the second thing I want to say is, obviously, if Obiorika does demonstrate the resilience and adaptability, that my second thing I want to say is Okonkwo, with his hyper-masculinity, and I don't know about that word, or I want to say, does not have the attributes that are required to withstand let's just call it the onslaught of British colonialism. And his version, his identity, his fear, etc., are make him incapable of adapting to the new situation. So now I've got like two sentences. One is about, two paragraphs. One might be about Obiorika, the other might be about Okonkwo. But now that I've touched this subject of masculinity, I think I want to put in something about Achebe's conception of Igbo masculinity, is that it must be balanced. It must be balanced. I've already said adaptable, but I'll put that in adaptable, loyal, and what else are some of Obiorika's? What is Achebe trying to say here? That your masculinity. Oh, I know what it has to be. And yeah, loyal and aligned with the community in other words, by Obiorika and Uchendu. That's his uncle. So, I brought up the masculinity word, and that's good, because maybe I'll even here call it masculine identity, because remember, identity is one of the IB concepts, and I want to remind the person who's grading my paper that I'm on track with these IB concepts. So now I've brought up this idea of Okonkwo is not doing what he needs to do. I think I want to say it like this. Okonkwo was not destroyed by the white man. He destroyed himself. It was his pride, vanity, and hypermasculinity combined with not knowing how to be a man. All right, so let's just say that instead of the white man, let's say the white colonialists. Right? Now, I think I should also point out here that the Umuofia. So let me just say Umuofia and the Igbos have a system and a resilient culture for dealing with rebels such as Okonkwo, and Okonkwo was given several chances to mend his ways, but he could never overcome his pride and misguided machismo. Okay, I'm going to have to do a little research on hypermasculinity and machismo and try to find out what the right words are there. So now I've made about 5 points. It's not even 1 o'clock yet. Let me just think, is there anything else I want to say? What about the roles of women within this? I'm going to say, although Achebe gives them very little voice, the women of Umuofia need to be heard. And Okonkwo's refusal to accept anything that is feminine is part of his. Now, remember, rejection of his culture and his unwillingness to transform. Okay, so I'm trying to get back to these words again that are the words that I'm going to get assessed on, which is culture and transform, right? I think the last point I want to make is the last pages of the book inform us that not only has Okonkwo rejected his culture, but his culture has rejected him. He will be buried by the white man's servants. The people of Umuofia refused to touch his body. And Umuofia has been transformed. Perhaps even cleansed. The part of Umuofia that will not change because of pride and aggressive violence has been exiled. That's a fancy word. Has been cut out of the culture. Okay, so what have I got? I've got 7 ideas here. This could turn into something like an outline. My first paragraph, so how many words is that? It's probably about 100 words, maybe a little bit more. Oh my God, 255. I've already written a third of the essay. Okay, so that's too much. I have too much to say here in too short a time. So that's okay. Obviously, if I go a little bit over, I'll cut it back. So maybe what I've got here is I could probably group this into 2 or 3 or maybe 4 paragraphs, and then an introduction and a conclusion. So the introduction should be part of the word count, because the introduction is basically, so 281 there, the arrival of the white man, that's my thesis statement. So this is going to be paragraph 1. I think I'll call this maybe paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5, and then maybe I'll do a conclusion, which is sort of a repeat of the introduction. And I've got something like, I'm a third of the way here. So for each of these paragraphs, I just need to add a few more sentences, and I'm ready to go. So now, I'm feeling a little bit more confident, because look at how much I've written already, and now I don't have all that. I've got something to work with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the text, because remember, when I get back to this assessment criteria, one of the things I'm being tested on is how did I respond to the text? I need to get to this. References to the text are well chosen and effectively support my ideas. So what I need to do now is I need to go into the book with this set of ideas and try to find evidence for what I've written here, and make some references to the text and jot down the page numbers and all of that. And so I'll go do that, maybe spend another 40 minutes on that, and then I'll get back to writing my essay again, and I'll probably make a second video if anybody actually watches this video and finds it useful. So I hope that's helpful, and see you next time.